a mortar mine. The war's coming forth, never with the disguise. Another A-bot for you who really wants it. Shot medals in my vocabulary. Rolling with the punches, I'm roping and jumping. Dealing with the problems, I got to be coping. Making it fit, and I click just like a Lego. I'll be Casio, but you can be tackled from the FBI to the CIA. I'm clearing out the path and here to LA. I be from C-Town, kicking the roof down, ripping up the mic and way past sundown.
The All-Star break is officially over, and we are back for yet another week of minor league and Major League Baseball. As always, I'm Tim McKelly, joined by my co-host, Nate Boat. Nate, how are we doing today?
We are great, actually. We are doing well. It's a Monday, so we're trying to get through the case of the Mondays. But other than that, we're good.
Nice. Gotta love that.
Yeah, how are you?
Doing good. Just came off a busy birthday weekend. Big weekend for the Guardians. Picked the wrong game.
What's the number now? 1-8? 18?
Yep, 1-8. Yep. Went up to the Guardians game they got routed. But altogether, they put up a good series against the Athletics. Can't be mad about that. Jose just tied it. Manzardo just got a double. So we're tied 3-3 with the Orioles right now. And yeah.
Royals are the next series. Don't skip ahead. Yeah, it is right now. It looks like Santana's got a full count. So if anything exciting happens in Gardo land, we'll keep you updated there. Taven, a couple talking points before we dive into our usual thing here. First off, again, we're just coming out of the All-Star break. What did you think about the swing off? That's a rule that people forgot about. It got implemented in, I think, the year after COVID in 2021, or maybe even the year after that in 2022, and then it never had to be used. So what did you think about the swing off?
Yeah, I liked it a lot. Don't really know the AL strategy going into that, picking those kind of three guys.
Look at who their manager was, and I can tell you all you need to know right there with who their manager was. I'm not a big fan of Aaron Boone.
But no, I liked it. Obviously, it speeds things up a lot. And yeah, I thought it was just really entertaining. Schwarber is an absolute beast.
So did you – I wish we had this screen grab, but it was – Schwarber has now homered in the AL NL wildcard, the AL NLCS, the NL ALDS, the World Series. He's homered in the Home Run Derby. He's now homered in the All-Star game, now in the All-Star game swing off, and the College World Series. And there's probably more. He's hit a homer in pretty much every major event. You know,
crazy.
And we know he hit homers when he was down in the minors as well, because he always was a big prospect coming up. So you know that he raked in the minors as well. So my only question is now is if there's a place where Kyle Schwarber hasn't hit a home run. I would love to know that if someone had that information available. Where hasn't this dude delivered in the biggest moment? Because it seems like he does. Oh, World Baseball Classic. That was the other place where he had hit a home run.
Unreal. Yeah, I liked I thought the swing off was good. I thought All-Star, kind of weekend as a whole was pretty good. The draft was pretty entertaining. I know we touched on that. Home Run Derby was pretty good too. Your guy Cal Riley did win.
Yes, I did not pick him. I did pick our Matt Olson, but both of our official picks went out in the first round. So yeah, no one beat anyone there in that regards. But the Home Run Derby is always a crapshoot. It always is. I am happy though that Big Dumper was able to win it. Was very happy about that. Was very upset that he did not get elected for the swing off, but that's Aaron Boone for you. Yep. Other talking point. The President of the United States, Donald J. Trump, has come out and said that he wishes that, the two teams in the Cleveland Guardians and the Washington Commanders never would have changed their name from the Indians or the Redskins. And I know that is a very big talking point among both fan bases, but because we follow the Cleveland Guardians, or used to be Indians, Taven, I'm with the crowd of people that seem to be in the minority that just don't really care all that much about the name change. And you had brought up a fantastic point before the podcast. I'd like you to repeat it. about sticking with your guns?
Yeah, there's no way, personally, I see them going back ever. Maybe not ever. I mean, anything can really happen if you give it enough time, but especially in the next 10 years, let's just give that time frame. There's no way that they're changing. Either the Commanders or the Guardians are going to change their name. I mean, first off, I don't think it's obviously up to the president of the United States. I think it would be up to obviously the MLB and the NFL. But I just don't see them ever. Guardians and Commanders, first off, wanting to go back just because it would make them kind of not look dumb per se, but can't really rebrand twice in 4 years and go back to what you were. And that's why the NFL and the MLB wouldn't allow it either. I just wouldn't see them, just doing that, make them look dumb. And pretty much, yeah, that's it.
Yeah, there's also a big party you left out there, which is the owners. It ultimately is the owner's decision. And even when you go back to it, the people are like, well, if those two had to change, why do the Braves still have a tomahawk axe across their chest? Why are the Florida State Seminoles still there? What's going on with the Chiefs and the Blackhawks and all of these other Native American and Indian nicknames that are going on with sports teams? Why haven't they received any sort of backlash? Well, the Redskins, already a pretty derogatory name, so they have that going for them. And then the Indians, I love Chief Wahoo, but you put the bias of the logo aside, it can be a very racist caricature. Now, I know they did poll Native American tribes about both during the COVID times when things were changing. And what I think the Native American tribes around Cleveland area, around the Ohio area said is pretty much the equivalent of, dude, we don't care. Like, we really don't care. I don't know what it was like in Washington. I don't remember that. But those were the two biggest names in the sports world that were borderline on the racist, or at very least just very, very frowned upon in that ass. So that's why those two changed. Again, I was one of the people that like, okay, they switched over to Guardian. Sure, whatever. I know a lot of the older fans out there are going to be like, this sucks. They will never go back, and I hate it. I've stopped watching the team because of it in very, very extreme cases, which hopefully that is none of you out there. Otherwise, why would you be watching this? I'm not sure. But either way, I'm with you. I don't think they're going to change it. And I'll just say what you want. It's going to make them look weak. You get the sense and the feeling that, yes, along with being on the borderline racism of caricatures and nicknames and symbolism and things of that nature, a lot of it also was the peer pressure aspect. And people during COVID were, all up in arms. They were already cooped up in their homes. You had all the social issues going on during that year. 2020 was just a complete mess. Now, the Guardians nickname does have a lot of success behind it in its 4-year history. The Indians have a lot of success behind theirs, obviously, but there was a really good period where Indians baseball didn't really accomplish much in the grand scheme of things. Some really nice seasons, some playoff appearances, but nothing really major. Of course, they made the World Series. They've won World Series titles under that name. They've made championship series and wild card spots and had historic runs and campaigns. Again, I'm one of the one that's okay with the name change. I don't really get the notion to revert and go back, be like, oh yeah. People clearly want this now. Like to me, that's kind of what makes the Indians name special now, is now if you have Indian stuff, like I have an Indians hat in that closet, I have a jersey that I need to find because it is somewhere and I don't know where it is, but I want it back. It's vintage stuff now. And it's, when you go back and look at it, I don't think people should look at it and get angry or upset, much like if you live in Washington and have an old Redskins jersey, whether it's RG3 or any of the other legends that played for that team, you should look at it and be like, yeah, those were some pretty good times. But it's a new era. Things always change. No one's happy about the Seattle Supersonics moving out of Seattle, especially the people in Seattle. But now Oklahoma City just won an NBA title. So I don't really know what there is to argue about that point. I think I've rambled long enough.
Yeah. Yep. If you want to get into some results, I say we do.
Absolutely. That is the main focus of this podcast. I just tend to ramble and talk because I like to do it. For those of you that don't know, when we dive on into these things, we start from the bottom at low A Lynchburg. We go all the way up to AAA Columbus. And to start out with the Hillcats, only 2 games this past weekend. Again, it was only scheduled to be a 3-game series, but because of some rain, the Hillcats did only play 2. And really not much to report, just a combined 3 RBIs, a combined, I'm going to take a look here, and no home runs, no triples, 2 doubles. Do some quick math on the hits. That's 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 hits, 3 RBIs. I think they only scored, 3 runs. So pretty slow week offensively for Lynchburg. And as far as the pitching goes, Braylon Doty's start was not his usual self. 2 earned runs, or I should say 3 runs, 2 of them earned, 4 strikeouts, 5 hits. That's an ERA of around 4.5. Gave up quite the large average. Could have been better. Could have been better from Jervis Alfaro as well, even though he didn't give up anything. 3 innings, 3 hits. Average was around 250. Walks and strikeouts, even. And the bullpen just did not really have a good series. Only guy that was scoreless out of the pen in the doubleheader was Luis Flores. So what much can you draw from a little 2-game doubleheader where one gets rained out? Even with all these teams, we're going to talk about 3-game series. Not really much. You would have liked to get some wins here. Again, we'll say this probably every week with Lynchburg. They've already clinched that first half playoff spot. They can be in cruise control for a while, but especially to what we talked about last week, you need to start finding ways to fill the holes that are left by guys that are gone, such as Nick Mitchell and Tommy Hawk, Sean Matson, and others.
Yeah, like you said, obviously not a ton to draw from this week. Braylon Doty, not a great outing again. It's been a kind of a rough season for him, 0-6. Did pick up the loss. So this year, probably just a feeling out year for him. Again, his first year of pro ball, but would like to see him starting to, get a win maybe here and there, just pick up the pace. Offense really wasn't existent. Obviously, only combined for 3 runs over the 2 games he had this week. Pitching really wasn't there in game 1, and then dropped the second game of that doubleheader on Sunday 2-1. So obviously couldn't get the bats rolling either. So again, another Lynchburg team that we're going to see change a lot in the coming weeks with these new draft picks getting settled in, but should be interesting to see how they kind of take shape.
Yeah, and ever since the first half got wrapped up there, this is the Lynchburg team that has been on a slide. They are definitely still under 500 as far as the second half of the season goes. Not much more to say there. Maybe a little bit more to say on the Lake County Captains. They were not Rake County this week. Only 1 home run in the 3-game set. It was from Alfonso Rosario, and it was Rosario's only hit of the series. Otherwise, Juan Benjamin played all 3 games. He hit .455, went 5 of 11. Really good stuff there out of him. Drove in a team-high 4 runs. Jason Churio, I think he's showing some good signs of starting to get back to what this organization needs him to be. But in 11 at-bats, he struck out 6 times. So that's got to be something that gets fixed. Nick Mitchell did make his high A debut this week. 2 of 7. That's a .286 average. 2 strikeouts to 1 walk. Not too bad there. Oh, by the way, back to Juan Benjamin. I'm just noticing this now, too. He did steal 3 bases. So really good stuff out of Juan Benjamin. Probably the best bat here this week. Jose Devers, 333. He went 4 of 12. Esteban Gonzalez, 2 of 11. Again, what much can you take away from a 3-game series? Probably not much, but even one thing's for sure, the bats, for the most part, even in guys that only got 1 or 2 hits, they came in some fairly sizable spots, and the bats were going pretty well this week. Yeah,
especially Sunday, you allude to. I mean, this game back and forth nonstop. Pitching staff wasn't really all there. Favors had a solid outing, 3 2/3, and then Matos, even though we got the win, he gave up 3 earned runs. So in the beginning of this game, it was really back and forth. But I mean, Alfonso Rosario, 2 RBIs, Jose Devers, 2 RBIs, Kevin Rivas, he had an RBI himself too. So Sunday, this game that kind of just just kind of jumps out to you. And kind of what we've seen out of Lake County, just going back to last year, I think they're really starting to kind of click, get things together. And just the bats are coming alive. Pitching staff, you'd like to see them wake up a little bit, but I mean, I feel like we could say that about every single affiliate.
Those
in the minor leagues.
Those starters especially, you need to wake up. I mean, I don't really know what's been going on with Matt Wilkinson, but he's got to get his confidence back. And Taven, that really was the majority of the problem this week. You look across the bullpen, aside from the guy you mentioned in Dwayne Matos, we do apologize for mispronunciations. The bullpen was great, and it didn't give up squat. Sure, a couple of hits here and there, but Robert Wiegelnick, take a look at this stat line, was able to get the save in 2 innings pitched, only allowed 1 hit. Walked 1 batter and struck out 5. So all but 1 out recorded all but 1 out recorded were due to the strikeout. So good stuff out of him. You did see Jack Josiah come out of the pen this week, 2 strikeouts for him. I'll skip the name here. We'll mention him in just a little bit. Harlow, Scott Richardson, our boy Isaac Martinez. And then this name, which got to be honest with you, Taven, as much as I wanted this to be a good story, I really didn't think it was going to be. It's turning into being one. Yeah. Tyler Naquin is still scoreless throughout his captain pitching performance. 2 innings, 2 strikeouts, only 1 walk, didn't allow up a single hit. Tyler Naquin, man, he's starting to, I think, really find it as a pitcher. Again, I don't know that it's going to rock him up to the big leagues anytime soon, but you got to give credit where credit is due. The kid is throwing gas right now.
Yeah,
he's like almost twice my age, but
yeah, he's been on absolute fire since he's been down in Lake County. Not bad at all. I mean, he's getting strikeouts consistently too. I think he just had 2 his past outing, so gotta love what he's doing. If he keeps going at this rate, we could potentially see him at Akron, maybe September.
Yeah, maybe. Well, let's theorize a little bit. Again, we don't really know what it is, but Taven, what do you suspect? Is it that guys are like, look at, I think we established last podcast, he's 34, right? My guess of 36, I know was off. Look at this guy, 34-year-old outfielder. He thinks he can pitch, give me a break. And then they see his fastball sitting at like 95 to 97 go, and they're like, oh no, maybe gotta start taking this guy seriously. What does he have? He has a fastball, he has a changeup, and he has some sort of cutter or something, right? He doesn't really have any true off-speed pitches, which can also make things hard, especially on high A hitters. If all you're seeing is fast, and you can't catch up to that speed, then, well, that's a problem. Then if you do get used to the fast, that's when Naquin is going to throw his change. So I don't know, theorize with me a little bit. Why can't people figure this guy's out, or should Tyler Naquin have really been a pitcher throughout his entire career?
Well, I think it's something that, guys really haven't seen before. I mean, I don't think there's many pitchers that are kind of just throwing fastball, and then a changeup. I mean, everybody normally has a slider, normally has a curveball, especially pitchers throughout the minor league. So I think that's kind of part of it. I would also maybe throw in that little bit of a psychological factor. People might look at this guy and say, hey, he's 34, he's only got a fastball and a changeup, like, don't really know what he's doing here. And then he goes out and just puts the ball in the right spot, paints the corners, and it's tough to hit. So whatever he's doing is working. I really can't figure out what exactly it could be. I think it's a magnitude of things. I think probably the biggest part is just they call Cleveland the pitching factory. I mean, they can really take anybody and just make them into a pitcher, or not make anybody into a pitcher, but really bring in a guy and just develop him, and obviously turn a Naquin into a pitcher. I would say probably the coaching staff and everything of that nature is probably the best reason why he's done so well.
And let's also not forget, he spent a long time. He spent pretty much the entirety of the first half in the Arizona complex working on things and throwing bullpen sessions. And I don't know about you, but if I were to do anything consistently for 4 months, I think I'd get pretty damn good at it. So that's probably another big reason why Naquin is doing as well as he is. Please let it continue. Taven, if he continues to pitch like this, I agree with you. Maybe there's a chance we see him in Akron this year. I think it would definitely probably end up being the feel-good story out of any minor league team, unless there's, again, a really big storyline that I don't know about, which is very, very plausible. But as far as our rooting interest goes, man, I want to see Tyler Naquin reach as high as he can get.
Yeah, my kind of a question that I've kind of started to get now is, I mean, when we had Naquin, he was a really good hitter. I'm shocked that they, at time to time, they haven't tried him out as a kind of two-way player. I mean, Naquin was a pretty solid hitter.
Yeah, he was. I'm going to look up his baseball reference, actually, while we're on the topic of Tyler Naquin. This is going to be a really weird episode for all the people. We're going to kind of bounce around a minute. So a little topic in between the recaps of what the teams did. Why did I just look up baseball reference? I want Tyler Naquin. Tyler Naquin, his career average is a 263, 61 homers with nearly 450 hits in 1,668 at-bats. His career OPS is a 762. His career OPS plus, which basically determines how average, above or below average of a hitter you are, is exactly at 100, which is the average mark. So according to Baseball Reference and Major League Baseball statistics, about the most average Major League hitter you can get.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, the dude was real quick on the bases. Play that kind of sticks out to you was the inside the park home run.
Right, yeah, and I remember that about him too. Over under, how many steals do you think he has on his career?
That's a good question. I don't even know a number. Throwing out.
Well, apart from the pretty quick on the base pass and what people might remember about Tyler Naquin, I'll throw the over under a 50 out there.
The way you're talking, I'm going to say under, but you think it's over.
Yeah, 20.
For his career?
Yeah, for his career.
Really?
20 bags.
Wow.
Yeah, that's it. I'm wondering if there was a specific year where he just spiked it up. And no, there was never a year where he tried to steal the bases more than 9 times. And that was the year that this team made the World Series, and he placed 3rd in Rookie of the Year voting.
Wow. All right. I didn't know that.
Yeah. So anyway, to your point, and to wrap things up about Tyler Naquin and the Lake County Captains, we hope he keeps pitching well enough. I think there are enough bats in this lineup to, at this point, you just be giving at-bats to a guy that is going to do it for the feel-good aspect rather than give at-bats to a guy who needs to work on his progression and development, and you keep giving him at-bats, and you take even more at-bats away from would-be prospects such as Ralphie Velasquez, Juan Benjamin, and I shouldn't even say them. I would particularly look at the outfielders such as Alfonso Rosario and Jason Churio and Esteban Gonzalez and Nick Mitchell. All of these guys are fairly highly rated prospects that we want to see hit and perform well. And so you play Naquin, or maybe you don't take away at-bats for anyone at all. You put him in the DH position, but then point still stands. You're taking at-bats away from somebody, and I don't think that that's an overall good thing. Yeah, maybe every once in a while, but not bad, Taven. I like the idea. Hopefully they do it at some point. I think it would be fun to see. Again, I'm not advocating to never do it. I want them to do it at some point for you and I and probably some other people out there's amusement, but yeah, it should not be a consistent thing. My point there. Akron, Wilfredo Antunes struggled his first week in AA, but hey, he did slug a homer over the fence this week, and some up and down performances with the bat on Hell You Now. Struggled in 3 games. Cooper Ingalls struggled in 3 games. Joe Lampe, though, he was on in 3 games, only had 7 official at-bats, but drew 4 walks. Hello, Mr. Lampe. Had a 1.549 OPS, not too bad at all. Cameron Barstad there as well. And the biggest news out of Akron, Travis Bazana is back.
There
and in 2 games, went 3 for 9. So now, Taven, we get to see this infield. Well, we didn't actually get to see the infield we thought we were going to see, which included CJ Kafis, but we probably get the best version of the Ducks infield that it will see this season. which honestly could be argued because without Yanao, with Bazana and Kafis, you could argue what's better or what's not. But this is definitely the healthiest. You can't argue this. It's the healthiest that the Ducks infield has been the entire season. And with the outfield pieces moving up and down and so forth, Lampy obviously is now back down here in Akron after being in Columbus for what seemed like a very, very short time. You have two former captains in Antunes and Advincula who are up here. Fox and Burgos are still playing some outfield spots. And who were they trying out at first base? Was it Burgos that they were playing at first?
It was Advincula.
Oh, it was Advincula. Oh,
Jonah.
that's right.
Yep.
It was.
Yep.
Yeah. So that's been very interesting because I don't think he's played first base hardly at all. But Taven, they don't have a true first baseman on the roster.
Yeah. It's not really a bad thing either, though. I mean, you got a lot of outfielders ahead of Advincula, a lot of outfielders ahead of Burgos on the depth chart, especially Columbus with guys like Petey Halpin, DeLauder. I mean, there's so many more guys who probably, off the top of my head, I would argue even Lampy would probably have a shot before those guys too. So if that means a slight position change and they're able to handle it and they possibly get up to the majors quicker, why not?
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you, especially, we honestly have no idea what's going to happen with the trade deadline, which is something we're going to discuss a little bit today, but a lot more next week. Yes, a lot more next week. But we'll discuss it a little bit today. We'll see how far we get into it. Otherwise, talk about the big name here in a second and Mr. number 1 overall pick. We got to get to the pitching, kind of like we've been talking about for the previous affiliates in Lynchburg and Lake County. Starting pitching was such a struggle for the Ducks this week. Trenton Denholm got messed up. Rorik Maltrud got messed up. Dylan DeLucia, though, the former captain, not doing too bad. He's starting to find his stride at the AA level. In the bullpen, apart from Mac Jacek, hopefully I'm pronouncing that name right. Jacek.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I appreciate that. And Jake Miller, they did allow some runs in their outings. Jake Miller, though, overall not too bad of an outing. This is a bullpen that, again, pretty comparable to Lake County, locked it down. Again, Jake Miller, a really weird off outing for him. Normally, he's been spectacular, but Tyler Thornton is just continuing to rehab. He finally had a really good appearance. No strikeouts or anything, but flat zeros across the board besides, obviously, the 2 innings. And other than that, some pretty darn good performances, although unfairly as it is, Zane Morehouse did earn the loss in 2/3 innings while giving up a run. While it wasn't earned, does go against him and actually didn't even allow a tried and true hit. He walked a batter and then just kind of a series of errors. Might have even been a hit by pitch in there as well. I cannot remember off the top of my head. So again, that's why we on the podcast say wins, losses are the most overrated thing for a pitcher because Morehouse unfairly gets that loss. Or fairly, whatever crowd you might be a part of. Taven, talk overall about the Ducks and we'll get into Mr. number 1 pick.
Yeah, overall, a solid week. Obviously, not really the results you kind of wanted, but I think, you're getting most of your team back off the IR, which is something that we haven't really seen this year. I saw Alaska Abney. He's rehabbing in the Arizona Complex League, so that's going to be another huge bullpen army going to get back. Also got another guy rehabbing that we'll definitely talk about here in a little bit. But, yeah, I mean, the rest of the Ducks, DeLucia, he pitched one heck of a game. Even though Ducks dropped that one. But, I mean, strikes out 6, 3 hits, no earned runs. I mean, this guy's arguably pitching better in AA than he has all year in High A for Lake County. I mean, he's been really up and down in Lake County. I don't think he's had one bad outing yet in Akron, maybe one. But it's definitely been more ups and downs. And hitting, I think, was solid this year, too. Obviously, you're getting a ton of these guys back, kind of figuring it out. Got different guys in different spots, obviously, like we mentioned, with Advincula playing first. And yeah, Sunday's game, obviously, you kind of saw what this team is capable of. 9 runs, Angel Henao, 2 RBIs. Lampy had 1, Burgos had 1. Cameron Barstad finally woke up. He gets 3 RBIs, and Advincula gets 1 as well. So this Ducks team, when they're on, they're gonna be a tough team to handle.
To clear up the point about Mr. DeLucia, Where did have the one blow up start on the road against the Portland Sea Dogs back in late June. Also a pretty iffy outing against Richmond right before the All-Star break. Other than that, I mean, he's pitched really, really well to start out his Akron career. Had 2 shutout starts. The ERA is sitting at 2.91 with the Ducks, 2.57. That's just in the month of June. ERA overall on the year sitting at 3.59, so it's actually down from where it was in Lake County. So to your point, you could definitely make the argument that, yeah, he's pitching better here than he did in Lake County, which definitely is a little bit of a surprise. Okay, before we move on to Columbus, let's talk about Mr. Number 1 pick, Bazana. Obviously, it means a lot that he is back. Taven, he started out the season really, really hot, then got sort of into the middle ground, became your average hitter with a pretty above average glove at second base. I think you need to see Bazana become a lot more spectacular, like what we were seeing him do in the early part of the campaign.
Yeah, for sure. Obviously, guy like that, I would give probably another week to just get into the swing of things. Obviously, he has not played high-level baseball since May is probably when he went down, about that late May. So yeah, I would say probably just give him time to ease back in this week. I think he will put up a solid week. It's not going to be anything over the moon, in my opinion. But then again, he did come out the gate in Double-A hot. I mean, he came out hitting, what was it, like 450 or something that opening week. So you never know with this guy. Obviously, he's the number 1 pick for a reason. But if he doesn't do anything spectacular, or maybe struggles a little bit here and there, I wouldn't read too much into that.
I also would not read too much into the facts that if he doesn't play. There are scheduled off days, and, surely no one will overreact about him getting an unforeseen scheduled off day. No, that never happens in the baseball community. But yeah, I wouldn't worry too much about Travis Bazana. Again, what I've been saying forever, and really the same can go for all of these prospects. Don't rush their production. Bazana will show he's ready when he's ready. Again, this is his first, what was supposed to be his first full season of competitive baseball. Obviously helped the Captains win a ship last year, a championship, get it? Nah. But Travis Bazana, I'm not too worried about him. I'm kind of with you. Even if he struggles, let's give some time for the results to play out. Baseball is the one sport you have to do that with.
Yep.
Into the Clippers of Columbus, Jake Anchia with a homer got one over the fence, and CJ Kayfus finally got back to doing CJ Kayfus things. 1 homer, 4 hits, 12 at-bats, so that's a .333 batting average. His OPS was near 1.2. It was 1.179, which was by far and away the best OPS out of anyone over this past 3-game series, besides Jake Anchia, but he only got 3 at-bats in 1 game and had 2 hits, so I'm not going to read too much into that. Out of guys that played at least 2 games, which everyone else on the roster did, CJ Kayfus was right there. Gabby Arias is getting a rehab start down there and getting in some rehab games, so good to see him getting back. Other than that, the rest of the performances were kind of meh. Milan Tolentino was just okay. This is a Columbus team that struck out way too much. Everyone recorded a strikeout besides Anchia, and Gabby Arias did not record a strikeout in 5 at-bats this week. I should say this weekend. Again, what much do you read into a 3-game series? Probably not much, but this was a slow week for the Bats. Even so, they did come around to score a lot of runs. There were a lot of hits for the team. The runs were pretty plentiful. It also just so happens that the pitching staff kind of got rocked, and pretty much the same argument, except for a few names in the bullpen. Zach Kent, who got rocked, Andrew Misiazek, who got rocked, Matt Kruk, who got rocked. The bullpen was fantastic, including 2 appearances out of Tim Herron. Good to see him getting back to be his former self. But the starters, man, really struggled. Vince Velasquez was, he was okay. He wasn't terrible. He was okay. Parker Messick, he got rocked a little bit, although 7 strikeouts for him. So the good with the bad on that regards. Franco Alaman, solid. Will Dion, solid. Again, nothing super spectacular out of the pitching staff, albeit in a 3-game series, there's also nothing too concerning.
Yeah. Wasn't the best week for Columbus. Obviously, they got to start picking things up. They're 4.5 back of Indianapolis right now. So obviously not in a terrible spot, not in a great spot this week. They really got to kind of battle back. But we've seen some bright spots out of this lineup. Gabby Arias, another major league guy who's obviously down there rehabbing right now. He's going to help out a lot. Kafis coming off of a big all-star weekend. I think he's going to continue to do Kafis things. And then you got the rest of the, kind of former major league players down there that should take that next step and kind of lead this team. You got Noel, you got Dom Nunez, guys of that nature, and hopefully that they're just able to just keep playing at a high level at AAA, and hopefully it's just another good week.
And it was our wildest mistake last week to not mention anything about the futures game during All-Star Weekend, which CJ Kafis and was it Messick that was a part of, or was it Peterson?
Yep.
Yeah, Parker Messick and CJ Kafis were both part of that. Hats off to them. Again, we rave about both of them on podcasts. We think both of those guys are amazing and will do amazing things once they get called up to the majors, which at this point, there's just got to be a roster spot open for them. Other than that, Taven, unless you have anything else on results, that is all I really got on that realm. We do have some big news to break, though. If you want to either wrap some stuff up on recaps, or you can take the lead on this breaking story, which came out shortly before podcast.
Yeah, breaking story. I think we just go right into it. Big time rehab start happening tomorrow. Thank God. He is back. Shane Bieber will rehab in Lake County tomorrow, July 22nd. He's back.
Yeah, and we thought he was going to be back in June for the Akron Rubber Ducks, and then ended up having what at the time seemed like a minor setback, ended up being a pretty major setback.
Yeah.
And now what everyone thought he was going to get to Cleveland ahead of schedule now seems like he's going to get to Cleveland on schedule. And honestly, Taven, just at the right time. You look at everything going on with the starting pitching rotation right now at the big league club, and yeah, okay, it definitely can be a lot better than where we have seen it pitch like this year. Tanner Bibee is getting rocked today, as moments ago, Ramon Laureano slugged the 2-run homer over the fence, so now it's back to an Orioles lead. It is 5-3. Obviously, the whole situation with Luis Ortiz is unfolding. His administrative leave just got extended to the late part of August, so there's that going on with him. Slade Ciccone has been great. Gavin Williams is up and down, had a great outing the other day, just yesterday, against the Athletics. And again, overall, the pitching staff is up and down. The schedule is so easy compared to the rest of Major League Baseball in the second half. And you get your ace Shane Bieber back. I don't know, Taven, they're probably going to get him back after the trade deadline, which we're going to dive into here in just a little bit, at least our initial thoughts on it. But this dude right here, finally back, will make yet another rehab start after Tommy John, was it?
Yes, I believe.
Yeah. So this is big. Obviously, this is big. This is huge. And I think, Taven, it maybe doesn't come at the absolute perfect time, but it's pretty close enough.
Yeah, I would say 100%. It's probably the right time. Obviously, right after that All-Star break is kind of when you expected him back. I would probably say a week or two until we see him in the major league. Just, I would assume a couple starts in Lake County or Columbus, whatnot, but I think you're going to get him right back. And like you said, I mean, it couldn't have come at a better time. Got Ortiz on administration leave. Starters, I would say the starters, yeah, and we're not going to see Ortiz back with the club, even if it were to end. I wouldn't assume he'd be with the club in September just because he's not even allowed to work out or practice or anything with the team.
Right.
So, yeah, pitching staff's been real up and down this year. I'd say more up than down recently. Gavin Williams has really been looking good as of late. Slade Ciccone, same thing with him, but guys like Allen and Bibee, they've struggled too. So, yeah, going to be great to get Bieber back. right time, and got the easiest schedule in the major leagues the rest of the way. And you're only I believe 4.5 out of that wild card spot, somewhere in the realm of there, which that's, again, definitely not a realm of possibility. Like you're still in this race, 4.5
Right.
out.
And they're back to second place in the division, which again doesn't mean much in the grand scheme of things, only that you're second best to the Detroit Tigers. But look, you take 3 of 4 from Baltimore and you're back to 500. And compared to what some of the other teams around you do, Tampa Bay starting to put it all together. Seattle has looked great. Boston, apart from this Cubs series, well, actually even in the Cubs series, has looked great. Anaheim and Texas are playing good enough baseball to hang right around that 500 mark and stick in this race as well. With a lot of the quality teams towards the top of the AL, it's going to be really tough. And this is a team that Taven probably has to pull a last year's Tigers and just get really, really hot, which honestly, we'll talk about that in a little bit here as well. Our expectations for the second half for Cleveland. But overall, again, this is a team that has the schedule in front of them to be able to do some really good damage to climb back up this leaderboard. As long as they stay second in the division, I think they got a great chance. Maybe not a spectacular chance, but they're going to give themselves that shot.
Yeah, and a lot of these teams coming up or that are ahead of you, they do have tough schedules. I mean, the Mariners, they got a tough schedule the rest of the way, but I'm not scared of really any of these other teams. I mean, the Angels, I don't think they're that great at all. Let's be honest. I don't think they're going to keep what they have going.
They can't pitch. They cannot pitch.
Not at all. Got the Rangers. They could do some damage if they really get hot, but I don't see them doing anything either. And kind of same with Tampa Bay. I mean, they're a really good young team too, but on paper, if you really look at both of our rosters, I think we have the better team. And I think when it all comes together and all these guys click, if all these guys come together and click and, Angel Martinez is hitting 282 like he has been for the month of July, which is absolutely insane. You got stuff like that going on. I think you got a real case to make that playoff push.
Yeah. Take this graphic away. We'll actually start diving on into the big league club because not too much more is going on as far as transactions or moves or minor league news or anything of that nature. Oh, the one thing that we will mention, and we're going to gloss over it briefly because it wasn't a surprise to either of us. First round pick, Jace Laviolette, is likely to be shut down for the rest of this professional season and will make his professional baseball debut next April, which Taven, not a surprise because of all the surgeries that he's had. That was to be expected. If I remember from last year, you probably will have a better memory of this than I will. When did the draft picks start getting assigned to their clubs last year?
I do believe it was the beginning of August. So we probably have another 2 to
because signing
3 weeks.
Because signing days last year was the 26th, which if that's going to stay consistent with this year, will probably end up being, I don't know,
probably August
pretty darn close.
I was thinking August 8th was kind of the date I had in mind for guys starting to kind of get signed.
Who was a guy? Let's just look at Bazana for example.
I think Cozart was the first guy that was assigned. If I'm not
okay. Well, I'm going to look at Bazana because I think that'll set a baseline. He was assigned last year. Oh, he was assigned on July 26th. So he was assigned and activated on July 26th. So that's the date that I am remembering. What of Jacob Cozart?
August 5th.
Cozart was assigned, so he went to ACL right away. He got signed on the 27th. So first round picks are weird. You have to sign them sooner rather than later. So later round picks like Jacob Cozart, he was signed on the 27th, assigned to the Complex League on the 5th of August, and then made it up to the Captains on the 12th. So you're probably going to see a lot of guys get assigned to the Complex or DSL or something of that nature. Well, no, you don't really assign guys to DCL. So they're going to get assigned to ACL, probably again that first week of August. The best of the best will make their way up to minor league affiliates at that point. and the best of the best of the best out of the complex league will get up to Lynchburg or maybe even Lake County.
Oh, sounds about right.
Yeah. Just going off the timeline that happened last year. So just going off of that timeline, that is what you can look for. So let us know. So let's do a little trade deadline stuff. Just a little bit. We're going to do a lot more next week once we know more and maybe some deals are going on, and we're probably going to see what the market is going to look like. I would assume at some point this week, at least one team, or I should technically two teams, but there's going to be at least one deal this week, I would think. Usually there's one pretty under the radar early trade deadline. I think the Guardians did theirs pretty early last year, getting Lane Thomas. Or was that pretty close to the buzzer? I thought it was pretty early.
I think it was the day of, I believe, but it was
okay. Never mind.
In the day.
I'm misremembering horribly then. I don't know what I'm remembering then. That is obviously my memory failing me, which is not new, but that's okay. So let's talk a little bit. There are multiple reports that have come out and said that the Guardians front office has made, obviously J-Ram, that goes without saying, but Stephen Kwan, Emmanuel Clase, and Cade Smith, they have made them untouchables, which I guess no expert is reading that because they are still putting them in every single trade scenario. In fact, I saw one today where the Guardians and Red Sox are going to swap Jarren Duran for Emmanuel Clase, which in and of itself goes against what the front office of Cleveland is saying, but B, it's just something you don't see happen that often. A major league for major league swap at the trade deadline. Usually it's a rental or a playoff push piece for a load of prospects, maybe a guy that you can sign in the near future. So Taven, I'll ask you this question first, and I'll throw my opinion on it. Where do you see the Guardians allocating assets if they do anything this trade deadline?
So personally, I don't think they really do anything at the deadline at all. I mean, I think that obviously it's a possibility that Lane Thomas could be gone and sold. And if you ask me, that's not really a bad thing. I mean, the dude's kind of always been on the injured list. His contract's up, I believe, after this year and hasn't really accomplished anything with us at the beginning of the year. Now, same was last year when we did trade for him. He didn't do really anything until later into the season, probably late September. And then obviously dude was one of the most valuable pieces we had in that playoff series. And obviously the Grand Slam against Skubal, all that. But I think Lane Thomas could be gone. I could see there's a world where Carlos Santana gets dealt, obviously, since he's a 1-year rental as well. So I could easily see that. I could probably I probably don't see Clase getting dealt yet. I think that might be a next year deadline thing. If everything goes south again, I don't think it will. If you look at back to 2018, we make the playoffs every other year. That's kind of just how this team works. But yeah, I think those are kind of the main two guys that I could probably see getting dealt. But even if they don't do that, I don't think you're going to bring anybody in. And to be honest, those are kind of the only two moves that I see happening.
Now this doesn't happen often with me, but I'm in 100% agreement with you. I think that it's Thomas, it's Santana, and that's probably the extent of the list that we're probably going to see dealt. I am going to choose to believe what the reports are saying about what Chris Antonetti internally is saying, and that, hey, these four guys, we're not going to trade them. Because let's look at the facts about those four guys. Obviously, J-Ram is not going to happen. I've seen especially a lot of Cubs Twitter that has been starting to be like, hey, what if we offer this? Would you say yes? Hell no. I'm saying no to everything that involves Jose Ramirez, and I don't care if it's you're going to, throw your entire farm system out here. That's Owen Cassie. That's top 5 prospects. That's all your top. I don't care. J-Ram will never leave ever. And that's not us keeping him hostage. Well, okay. It kind of is because of his contracts. He he can't really leave. And he's also not allowed to leave, and he also doesn't want to leave. So that makes our job a lot easier. Stephen Kwan, club control until 2027. Although a lot of people, myself included, think that their window to re-sign him has passed because every waking day, hour, minute, second, he's getting more and more and more expensive. And with the track record of this club, they probably won't spend the money to keep him around. I do think there are a lot of folks that are probably starting to get to that mindset now. But a trade piece, probably if they get an exceedingly good offer for him, but more likely than not, he's not getting dealt. Same thing with Clase. Again, Kwan has club control until 27. Clase has club control until 28. So why would you get rid of him now when, again, he can still give you tremendous value in the future? It's the same thing with Stephen Kwan. They can give you tremendous value down the line. And will they eventually be really expensive to re-sign? Oh, yeah, absolutely. Maybe by then the front office will grow a pair and finally start paying guys. Unlikely, but possible. And then when you talk about Cade Smith, I agree with the decision to make him untouchable, because even if the right offer comes on the table and Chris Antonetti is looking at it and saying, man, I can't turn this down. This is too good of an offer not to take, and Clase is gone, then Cade Smith is your closer. And he's one of the best non-closer relievers in baseball. So I agree with making him an untouchable there as well. It's Thomas, because of the injury problems, and he just hasn't produced, especially in the regular season, up to the level that you need him to do. And on the very off chance that this team gets into the postseason this year, then, if he doesn't perform then you probably look like an idiot not dealing him at the deadline. And then Santana said this about him on the last podcast. If there is a team out there, and while I don't have a team off the top of my head that could have this, if there is a team out there that needs a first baseman with experience, probably looking at the Boston Red Sox. And if the Red Sox want to dump Duran, I wouldn't necessarily be opposed to a Jarren Duran, Carlos Santana swap, which I don't know if that physically can work. I don't know if that's something that these front offices have ever thought about. There have been many trade scenarios proposed between Cleveland and Boston, and I don't recall seeing one. Maybe there's one out there and I haven't seen it, but I don't recall seeing one where Santana and Duran do the old switcheroo, which I think would benefit both sides, because then that gives you an opportunity to call up some of your prospects. But I am fully with you. This is just me brainstorming. I don't think the Guardians do jack or squat. In fact, I've joked, and again, I genuinely don't believe they're going to do anything at all. I think they stay pat. If anything, this is the front office that believes they're in position to add talent. But what I have joked about, and I'm knocking on my desk, which is made of wood, this is going to be a front office that sees the team build momentum. They're going to be well above 500, back into the thick of the wild card race, and then they're going to trade somebody. Knowing this front office, that'll happen. I pray it does not, but knowing this front office, that is likely.
As a possibility too.
But I'm with you. I genuinely just think they stand pat and kind of fold their arms and be like, well, let's see how other teams play out along the deadline. Or what they could do is they could change their minds depending on how the market looks. Again, trade deadlines in sports are always weird because you have to see what the market is like. And Cleveland is not one of those teams that's going to go create that market. They're going to wait for the market to develop and then play it based off that. Cleveland's not going to set the market. So it's up to another team to set that market, and then maybe the opinions can change. So as of this current moment and the way I think it's going to stay, I think the Guardians are pretty safe.
Yeah, I would agree.
Last thing was, second half. And again, we'll dive a lot more into the trade deadline once we, get a feel for the market and maybe opinions and things have changed when we get back here on the 28th. That is next Monday. Second half expectations for the Gardos as we close out the show. They have, according to power indexes, a bottom third strength of schedule in this final stretch, which is good. This is a Guardians team that played one of the toughest stretches of baseball, one of the toughest roads throughout the first half of the season. And Taven, weirdly enough, they are much better on the road. Not much better, but they are better on the road than they are at home, which is a weird dynamic that is flipped from what it usually is with this organization. But we mentioned it earlier in the pod. This is an organization that has one of the easier roads, and it has every opportunity lined out in front of them. My only thing, and then you can go ahead and take the wheel here. The only thing that I'm nervous about with this organization, I think they have everything they need to try to make as close to a playoff push as they can. I just don't know where the offense is going to consistently come through. Rocchio's been good the past couple of games. Angel Martinez is starting to hit like crazy. We know J-Ram and Quan are going to keep doing their thing. But Manzardo has been inconsistent. You're not seeing the power that you want to see out of Nolan Jones. You're not seeing the production that you want to see out of, again, guys like Lane Thomas and even Daniel Schneemann after his really weird spurt. He hasn't necessarily produced that well. Jonathan Rodriguez finally hit a home run, finally hit his first major league home run, which is, of course, a big moment for celebration. But again, he's never produced. John Kenzie Noel is obviously down in Columbus. Oh, no, he's up with the big league club right now, isn't he?
I believe he's back down with Columbus. Yeah, he is.
Okay. Well, one of the two, you have not gotten the production from him at the major league level until you get Gabby Arias back. And even when you do get Gabby Arias back, there's no guarantee that he is back to what he was when Rocchio and him were competing for the shortstop position the first time. I still don't know why Will Wilson is up with the club, but whatever. I just don't know where the offense is going to come from. I think the pitching staff will give you good enough results for the most part to be able to help carry you forward. That especially will be true when Shane Bieber comes back. But to me, it's the offense.
Yeah, I'd have to definitely agree. I think it's just going to take these guys getting hot. Obviously, I don't see Kayfus really coming up. I do think DeLauder gets up at some point this year. You're going to have to. I think that's going to be for Jonathan Rodriguez once he continues to hit the 143 that he probably, is hitting right now and will be hitting down the line in August and whatnot. But I don't really think that there's going to be a big kind of move. I think DeLauder is probably as big as you're going to get, and which is a big move. Don't get me wrong, but I don't think there's going to be many moves. I would say you're going to have to get good production out of obviously Schneemann, and Angel Martinez is still going to have to play really good. Bo Naylor has to wake up just a little bit. But if you can get those guys going, that's where I think the offense production is going to have to come from. And if not, I think obviously they're going to make some moves in the offseason.
Absolutely. So this was a Tigers team that through July, if you give me 1 second here, through July was oh boy. Okay, 109. Sorry, I'm doing math. Sorry. You know what? I need to see. Sorry, I'm looking at I'm trying to look for their record pre and post All-Star break. I'm not finding it. So apologies for the awkward silence. I need to find it.
Yeah, like you said, though, I mean, a Detroit team that's kind of similar to us. First half, they weren't really great in the season. They caught fire the last couple months. Again, very similar to kind of what this Guardians team has to do. And this is the best, in my opinion, the best kind of stretch that you have of doing so. I think DeLauder will get up there. I think Bieber will be up here too. And yeah, it's kind of just what you have to do.
Here it is. So last year, they, on August 11th, had a 0.2% chance to make the postseason. We are obviously not at August 11th yet, but go with me on this one. They went in their last 42 games of the regular season 31-11. They went 31-11 down the stretch last year. And obviously, every baseball fan remembers just the insane turnaround of the Tigers team last year. And again, they even sold off some of their guys at the deadline, like Jack Flaherty was gone. I think there were a couple position players that got dealt out. And this Tigers team was selling. Again, I think it's going to be a little bit different because I don't think the Guardians do anything. But let's just say, for instance, the Guardians sell off Santana and they do sell off Lane Thomas. You bring up CJ Kafis, you bring up Chase DeLauder, or whatever prospects you want to throw up here, and they start to produce. And a lot of your other young talent in the lineup gets hot, like Gabby Arias and Brian Rocchio, and maybe Jonathan Rodriguez can finally start getting hot. It really was just some very weird heroics with the bats that helped out Detroit last year, on top of the fact that they had one of, if not the best pitcher in the game, in Tariq Skubal, along with a great supporting cast behind him. You could see that take place this year with the Guardians. They have their... Probably the one thing that they have this year that Detroit didn't have last year was that bona fide major league talent in the lineup that had been able to produce consistently. And for the Guardians, that's Jose Ramirez. So while I don't think it's a complete one-to-one parallel, I do think you can draw a lot of similarities from where this club is now to what the Tigers did last season. Now, do I think the Guardians have to go 31-11 in their last 42 games in order to make the postseason? No. But they got to get hot and they got to rattle off a string of wins quickly.
Yeah, 100%.
They just scored. There are runners on first and second. Santana hit an RBI single to right. That scored Jose Ramirez. Manzardo is on second. Santana on first. Nolan Jones has struck out twice, but this is his third appearance at the plate with a runner in scoring position, where Nolan Jones, as of late, has not been too bad. Guardians looking to get the series opener against the Orioles. Right now, 5-4 O's, bottom of the fourth, 2 outs, 2 on. Nolan Jones at the dish for the Guards.
There it is. Gotta get hot. Gotta start now.
You have to capitalize. Who's pitching this game for the O's, mind you? I know Bibee is getting his strikes. His ball to strike ratio is great, and they just pulled the O's starter in Sugano. Final stat line, well, maybe not the final stat line, but stat line for now from Sugano, who has been one of the worst starters for Baltimore this year. 3 2/3, went 6 hits, 4 runs, all of them earned, 4 walks, ouch, and 4 Ks. And was able to strike out. Yeah. So that decision could backfire because he had gotten Nolan Jones to strike out twice before. Usually when that happens, you leave a guy in to face him. But given the current situation, I really don't mind the decision by Baltimore to pull Tomoyuki Sugano. In any case, though, this is going to be a pretty big spot here for the Guardians, who seem like they're starting to develop those bats. So they seem like they're starting to really come around.
Yeah.
Everybody but Kwan, Jones, and Schneemann has a hit, but Kwan has already been on base. He's been walked twice. So there we go. You have anything else to discuss, or should the people go watch the Gardos?
Got to run through schedules for this week in the affiliates.
I always forget about that, don't I? Silly me. All right, way we do this, we go from top to bottom in terms of affiliates. The Calippas of Columbus, they are back home this week. They are going to be playing Buffalo. They will be playing Buffalo. Starting pitching, I don't know if that has been announced yet. Maybe I'll look on Guards Insider.
Yes, it has. Weekly rotations are out, and
Bam! There we go. So we'll run through, I'll run through pitching rotation. Taven will tell you where they are in the standings. So Clippers Tuesday, Peterson. Wednesday will be Webb. Then you have Davenport. That's kind of your split start that the Clippers have liked to do in the past. Velasquez on Thursday. To kick off your weekend, Doug Nikhazy goes Friday night. Parker Messick Saturday. And, of course, double bump week for Austin Peterson. 6-game series at home against the Buffalo Bisons, which is technically bad grammar. Bison is the plural form of bison. Bisons is weird. But anyway, where do the Clippers stand?
Yeah, they are 10-11, 4.5 out of the International West Division, and big week. Buffalo is 6-15 at the bottom of their division, so you really got to capitalize this week.
Yikes! Above 500 at the very least, what we expect out of the Clippers this week, at least what I expect. Hey, really big intermediate series for the Ducks here this week before they get a 6-game stand against Erie. They have a 6-game stand on the road against the Harrisburg Senators. Harrisburg, that is the team coming up. Ducks pitching rotation looks like this. Double bump week for Mace. Tommy will go Tuesday and Sunday afternoon. Yorman Gomez, again, one of the newer pieces up there to that rotation, will start Wednesday. Then Dylan DeLucia on Thursday. Kicking off your weekend is Trenton Denholm, followed by Rorik Maltrud on Saturday. And, of course, rounding out with the aforementioned Tommy Mace. The Ducks sit struggling. I know that.
Yeah, 9-12, 4 out of first place Altoona, and that's who they just played. Dropped 2 of 3 to them, so got to rebound this week in a big way.
And you got to give credit to the Curve, a team that was not good last year. They found something this year. So, okay, we see you, Altoona. Feels like the 80th time the Captains are going to be playing the Lansing Lugnuts, but here we are. They get the Lugnuts at home this week. And, of course, tomorrow is your rehab start in Shane Bieber. Probably looking at around 3 innings or 40 to 45 pitches, whichever comes first. After that, Michael Kennedy is going to be set to take over there on Tuesday. Sean Matson, he started to get some starts down in Lynchburg after coming out of the pen. He'll start for the Captains on Wednesday. We've talked to Sean. We like Sean a lot. Thursday is Josh Hartle. Friday, you got Tugboat and Matt Wilkinson. Saturday is the likes of Jackson Humphreys. And no double bump week for the Captains this series, so you get favors going on Sunday. And the Captains are where?
Exactly 500, 4 out of first place West Michigan. So,
well,
they're killing it again.
So count West Michigan out.
Half. We're going to count them out. Would be Fort Wayne, who they just got done playing, and they are only a game back of them. So technically, you're only a game out of first place at the moment.
Yeah, because, again, explain to the people how that works.
Yeah, so West Michigan, they won the first half. Minor league season cut in half. You win the first half. Essentially, the second half does not matter for standings at all. If you finish first in the first half and the second half, then the team that places second in the second half would get the other playoff spot. So,
correct. Lynchburg is the final one we have to talk about, and they are playing Delmarva, the Delmarva Shorebirds. They are in the other division in the Carolina League. Lynchburg, obviously, your first half champs. Hey, their pitching rotation looks like this as they go on the road for a 6-game set against Delmarva, which I think is, I actually don't know where that is. I really don't know. I'll look it up. It's got to be against somewhere on the East Coast. Oh, Salisbury, Maryland, or Salisbury, Maryland, probably as the Terrapins over there would say. Melquise Hernandez going on Tuesday, followed by Rafe Schlesinger. Wednesday, you got a split start with Jacob Zibin and Cam Welty. On Thursday, Jervis Alfaro goes Friday. Braylon Doty on Saturday. And it's double bump week for Mr. Hernandez. And might I still mention, there still is no Jogly Garcia. So don't know what's going on with him. Where do the Hillcats sit?
Yeah, hopefully they get Jogly back quick because 9-14, 6.5 out of first place. Obviously, you won the first half, so standing-wise does not really matter. Just got to get hot really at the end there. And
you don't have to rush Jogly Garcia back. You need him for that playoff series, though.
Yeah,
Desperately need him back for that playoff series. Other than that, there is your pitching rotations. Oh, let's talk about the ACL as well. Flores is going on Monday, today. Joey Oakey set to pitch on Tuesday. A lot of days off in the complex league this week. Then you'll get Chase Mobley, followed by Perez, a little bit of a split start there on Thursday. So that is what's going on at the ACL. Otherwise, I don't have anything else, and I did not get a notification, which tells me, yep, the Guardians did not score, so it remains 5-4. You have Jackson Holiday at the plate. Tanner Bybee is being left in, but his pitch count is not very high, even though he's given up the 5 runs. It is 5-4 O's, top of the 5th. Go enjoy, hopefully, a guard ball, what would be come from behind win in whatever fashion you would like to slice that as. I have got nothing else. Shorter one today. Shorter-ish. We made it long enough.
Yeah, yep. But if you don't have anything else, where can they find you, Nate?
First of all, big shout out to, while the pod was going on about 20 minutes ago, Robert Wiegelnick being able to accept that follow request for the pod. We like that a lot. Go follow the Instagram. Go follow my Instagram. My handle's right down here at TailgateNate29. You can find that on Twitter or X. I refuse to call it X. It's Twitter. You can find that on Snapchat. You can even email me, followed by @gmail.com. You just tag that on to the end there. Otherwise, we're starting to get into the radio flow. So if you want to hear me on the radio, I'll have details of that in the coming weeks as well. Where can they find you for everything that you do? All of the wonderful stuff.
Yeah, so McKelly Media for, kind of personal stuff, Rubber Ducks updates. Obviously, go to the pod for stuff of that nature. Start sports coverage for that good old high school sports coverage coming up in 30 days, which is insane. That's Perry's first football game, and they kick off the high school season Thursday, August, I believe it's 21st. So
yeah,
exactly
the 20th, the Thursday, because I'm doing post game shows for my radio station. Pretty much I'll be on the radio doing post game shows, wrapping up stuff from around the western part of the state, as well as big matchups around the state. So you got anything big in Stark County, you better let me know. I'll put it on the radio. We will do it.
Yeah, got a lot of Massillon. They're going to be ranked very, very high in the state, obviously, like they normally are.
Massillon Perry's always good.
Yep, same with McKinley, Camp McKinley. They're always really solid too. Akron Hoban, they're always really good.
Each other this year, McKinley and Massillon. McKinley
and
Massillon.
Every year, last game of the season.
That's what I thought. Yep. That'll be a big one there as well. Yeah, some good teams out here. Indian Lake is pretty good. Them and West Liberty Salem were in the Final Four, and I think D4 might have been D5. I think it was D4 last year. So. That's good. Bell Fountain obviously was the former home of Tavian St. Clair, 5-star recruit who is now with Ohio State. And honestly, got some good football out here. So I'm excited to dive into my first full season of Ohio high school football. I think I'm going to enjoy myself. I think I'm going to like it. Also be calling a lot of volleyball as well. I do know that. I'll be on the mic for some volleyball calls, which I am very much so looking forward to. On top of that, you will be able to find the pod on everywhere you will see here in the outro in just 1 second, but I'll tell you verbally at Prospects OTL on Twitter and Instagram starting this week. You're going to see a little bit of the change on the Instagram. We finally decided what we wanted to do with the thing. You'll see weekly recaps before the show, so that way the recap segment on the show can be a little bit shorter. We'll just direct you over there to the Instagram. We'll run through all of the scores, some key things, and we'll dive into more detail here on the pod. Also, Taven, be prepared for this. I'll drop this on you. I think this is a good idea. During the show, we will be announcing our prospects of the week, both a position player and as a pitcher. We might agree on it. We might not agree on it. It'll be our own thing. That will be a post that will come out Tuesday mornings on the Instagram. Other than that, we'll try our best to do clips and things, but we have our own separate schedules we have to attend to. Taven, does that sound good?
Yeah, I like it.
Good. I like it as well. Well, as usual, tell us how many people were on and you can get us out of here.
28, really good, because we did not put a tweet out. Kind of both forgot until about 5-ish. So, and then with the Guardians being on, I think it was a very, very solid show out today. So
again, we want to keep that number growing higher and higher every single podcast, at least as much as it can. And that is our bad for not telling the people that we're going to be on today. That's something we both got to get a whole lot better at. But we do appreciate all 28 of you tuning in today. Tell all your friends, tell all your family, especially if they like Guardians baseball. Why not tune in to know about the Guardians of the future? Taven, let's go watch some Guards.
Let's go watch some Guards again. We appreciate all 28 of you sticking with us, and we will see you next month.